Time for another story. Once, long ago, in the kingdom of Yue, there lies the Yung Mountain Range. Now, in the Yung Mountain Range, there used to live a horrible serpent. It was a terrible beast. It would do whatever it wanted. It would sneak into towns, snatch people up, and eat them whole. Now, local officials tried to do their best to deal with the monster. They sent warriors to fight and kill it, but none came back. They tried to give it offerings of oxen and sheep, but they didn't seem to appease the monster. Eventually, the beast made its desires known. It appeared in the dreams of a spirit medium, someone who could communicate with creatures and beings from the other side. It said, "I do not want your oxen or your sheep. I want your daughters. Bring me girls of age 12 or 13 on one day in the 8th month of every year. Then I shall leave you alone." So, what else could they do? They started seeking out people, young women who were the children of bondsmaids or criminals, and they paid whoever was responsible good money for them, and then they'd keep them until the appointed day, and then they'd bring them up to the cave, leave them there. The serpent would come out, swallow the girl whole, and leave them alone for another year. Now this happened 9 times. Now, it got to the point where they were looking for their 10th girl to bring up to the cave, and word about it started to come round. Specifically, word of the money that would be offered to the people who were offered to this monster. Traveled until I got to the home of a man named Li Tan, who had 6 daughters and no sons. The word eventually reached the ear of Li Tan's youngest daughter, named Li Chi. Now, hearing about this, she did what she figured was the only thing she could do in such a situation. She decided to volunteer. Her parents were aghast at this. Said, "How could you give yourself up to this monster?" She said to her parents, "Listen, you have 6 daughters, no sons. Father, you're a poor farmer. You can barely afford to feed us all. If I can just get us a little bit of money, wouldn't that be worthwhile if I could help this family?" But her parents loved her too much, and Li Chi's parents decided that they couldn't let it happen. So she decided to go in secret. Now, the day came, and in the 8th month of that 10th year, and Li Chi was brought to the Cave of the Serpent. Now, before she was brought there, she made a request, a final request. She asked that she be given a good snake hunting dog and a nice sharp sword. The officials decided they had nothing to lose, so they gave them to her. Now, Li Chi had also brought with her a basket of rice balls that had been sweetened with malt sugar. And when she was at the cave, what she did is she took the rice balls and she started placing them around the outside of the cave. Then she got off to the side and she waited. Pretty soon, the serpent made himself known. He had smelled the aroma of those rice balls. They smelled wonderful. So the serpent slithered out, opened its mouth to eat one of the rice balls. And then Li Chi gave the signal. The dog ran up to the beast, latched on to the serpent, and the serpent reeled back in pain. Then Li Chi took the sword, ran up, and scored the monster a number of times. Now the pain was so intense that the serpent leaped out of its cave, fell to the ground, and died. Then Li Chi went back into the cave and collected all the skulls of the 9 girls who had come before her, so that they may get a proper burial. And she picked up one and she looked at it and said, "You poor thing, for your timidity, you were devoured." Well, word about what Li Chi did started to spread. Eventually, it came to the king of Yue. And the king took a great interest in Li Chi. And that interest grew and grew until finally he decided to make Li Chi his queen. Her father, Li Tan, the poor farmer, became the magistrate of Qianglou County. And her sisters and mother were granted all the riches they could need. They would want for nothing. And to this day, there are still ballads sung about what Li Chi did. All right. So that was from Chinese Fairy Tales and Fantasies. If you're looking for it, you might be able to find it in the library. Like I said, 398.2 is Fairy Tales and Folk Tales. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe and comment. Thanks.